In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Welcome back to New York, Ray. Ray Curtis from the 2-7, homicide. This is my case.
Mine too, now. Olivia Benson, SVU.
SVU?
Yeah, I got a call the victim showed signs of sexual assault. Your lieutenant said you guys were a little short-handed and my partner is on leave. So I'm here to assist.
Yeah, department cutbacks. Everybody wants more cops, nobody wants to pay more taxes.
And now we're down one more taxpayer.
Who is she?
Name tag says Rachel. Judging from the uniform, she was one of the housekeeping staff. Oh, up until a few hours ago.
I guess someone didn't like the mint on their pillow. Hola, soy Detectivo Ray Curtis.
Soy Teresa Restrepo.
Restrepo. Is that Colombian?
Yes, how'd you know?
The neighbors across the hall when I was growing up. They made the best patacones. I get hungry just remembering. I need to ask you a few questions. You okay to talk?
Yes, believe it or not, I've seen worse.
Let's start with an easy one. Can you tell me the victim's name?
Maybe. It's hard to remember. So many girls working here. Everybody always coming and going. I just learned to read the name tags like everyone else.
Well, could you try? For me?
Sure, you got nice eyes. Let's see. It wasn't Latina. It was Rachel, I think.
Great. Thanks, Teresa. How long has she worked here?
No sé, she was pretty new. Started last month, maybe?
She have any trouble with anyone?
Trouble? No, not her. She was nice, quiet, polite. Actually, no, never mind.
What were you gonna say?
Well, she just never really seemed like one of us, like she had something else going on. Always watching everything and tapping on her phone. Era una adicción.
See anyone suspicious hanging around lately?
Yeah, the hotel is full of them. Lots of old businessmen always staring at you. Ugh.
Okay. How about anyone especially interested in Rachel?
No, I don't think so. She didn't even have a boyfriend.
You say she liked to use her phone. For what? You think she was earning a little extra money?
What, like John's? Are you asking did I think she was a whore, detective? I don't think so. But who knows? It would explain a lot.
Anything else about the phone?
She was always texting. Always. She also did some weird stuff. She took pictures of the rooms and even some guests. For a while, I actually thought she might be a cop.
Where would the phone be now?
Probably nearby. She always kept it close.
One last thing, Teresa. It would help us if we knew the last place Rachel might have been. Do you know which room she would have been cleaning?
That's the weird thing. Today was her day off. She shouldn't even be here.
So what was she doing all dressed up for work?
You're the detective. You figured it out, guapo.
Hey, Benson, what you got?
I'm seeing a lateral bruise across her throat. Not finger marks. More like a pipe or a cane.
No sign of a murder weapon?
Guess we better start looking. While you were busy being charming, I wrote down a couple of things to keep an eye out for. Her ID, her purse, her day planner or notepad, and of course any DNA evidence from her attacker. Might be under her fingernails.
And her cell phone. Teresa mentioned that might be important. Okay, good. We got our cell phone. Rachel Trevino, 27 years old, lives at 600 East 5th Street. Over in the East Village, if I remember right. Broken fingernail. She scratched him up pretty bad, I bet. There's some kind of debris under there. Better get a swab for DNA. This could be Rachel's purse. It's not Coach, but not cheap either. Someone was taking care of her bills. Notebook. Just a couple of notes. Wider media. What the hell does that mean? She's got a couple of voicemails. Let me see. Yep, sounds like she was meeting somebody here. Okay, this is evidence. Let's get back to the precinct and give it to CSU.
Why not just listen to him now?
I better follow procedure on this one.
Such a Boy Scout.
Hey, if we solve this case, I finally get my murder merit badge.
Come on, I'll drive.
Ray.
Morning, Lenny. Please tell me we got a new lead on the Central Park case.
Oh, sure. If you count nothing, nada, and bupkis.
It's been 6 weeks.
The murder weapon is probably at the bottom of the Hudson. I tell you what, I think we're stalled out, kid.
I hate loose ends, Lenny.
Tell me about it. At my age, I gotta tie him up as fast as I can.
Ray Curtis, as I live and breathe, back in my precinct after all these years. What happened? Finally sick of all that California sunshine?
My girls got worried if I wasn't solving murders, I might start committing them.
You met Detective Benson?
I did. She's good. Definitely easier on the eyes than Lenny Briscoe.
Yeah, but she's made of steel. Don't cross her, Ray.
Wouldn't dream of it.
Welcome back.
Thanks. Hey, I was gonna take this down to CSU. What the hell?
What's wrong?
The voicemails. They're all gone. Someone deleted them all.
And odds are it wasn't our victim. Looks like her carrier is Mercury Wireless. Pete Shanahan down in Fraud told me they've had some problems with security recently.
Mercury Wireless Company policy is pretty clear. I can talk to you up to a certain point, but if we go over, I have to involve corporate counsel. They've instructed me to answer your questions and give you access to any relevant data.
Understood. Thanks for your time. Could someone delete voicemails off a phone remotely?
Sure, that's a feature we offer.
How would they do it?
Easy. You just need to have the account PIN number, just like your bank ATM.
Who had access to Rachel Trevino's voicemails?
According to our account record, only Ms. Trevino. There's no one else listed here. The only other persons with authorized access are myself, our customer representative team, and a few independent technical contractors.
What about illegal access?
Hacking into the account? Hard to say, because that'd be illegal.
So if no one at Mercury did this, could someone have hacked into the account?
We work very hard to maintain the integrity of our system.
So no recent problems with break-ins or hacking?
Our security is very good, Detective.
You didn't answer her question.
No hacking at all. None. We've never had a single security breach.
Detective Shanahan already informed me you've had problems with break-ins.
Well, we didn't want this to go public, but yes, we are aware of some issues.
What happened exactly?
Attacks on the customer data, PIN numbers being stolen, that sort of thing.
We're going to need to check all activity on the phone over the weekend.
This isn't Big Brother, despite what you might think. We do track calls, text messages, and data downloads, but not every single interaction.
Really? You sure about that?
Well, there are other records, but those are internal and restricted. I'm not authorized to show you those.
You said counsel already authorized you to show us any relevant records. How about it, Mr. Gray? Let's have a look at those restricted records, Mr. Gray.
We prefer not to share those personal customer records. It can project a negative corporate image. It would be a complete invasion of our customers' privacy. You guys need a warrant.
How about we go get that warrant? Then we can search your restricted records and it all goes public at trial. How do you think your customers will like finding out you kept secret information about them?
Oh my God. All right. I'll look it up.
We're conducting a murder investigation, Mr. Gray. We need to know what happened to those voicemails, and we need to know now.
Sure, we can go get a warrant if that makes you feel better.
But by that time, more of your customers might end up dead, like Rachel Trevino. That makes for a very negative corporate image.
All right. There's no record of who exactly deleted the voicemails. But honestly, someone modified her account about 2 weeks ago.
Who?
This is embarrassing, but it was one of our own contractors. He's a bit of a hacker. He could have accessed her information. He did not have company permission to do this.
But why?
He's a strange guy, detective. Very intense. His name is Tom Newberry. Here's his contact number. One thing, you might not want to call from your precinct.
Oh, why not?
Tom knows how to crack caller ID. He always knows who's calling and from where.
Thanks for the tip.
Weird place for an interview, Curtis.
Witness requested we meet here.
He thinks it's all a big game.
I get the impression he's young. His mom answered the phone when I first called. Speaking of games, good cop or bad cop?
Bad cop, definitely.
Suits me.
Call me Anonymous.
We already have your name and phone number, dumbass.
Where were you on Saturday night?
Everywhere.
Tom, we can go downtown right now if that's how you want to play it.
Sorry, I was online. On a raid.
Anyone corroborate this?
About 20 warriors in my guild.
Let me rephrase. Did anyone real see you?
Yeah. My mom. I live with her. She was there the whole time.
Yeah, I talked to your mom on the phone already. She know you're out this late?
Hilarious.
We talked to some people at Mercury Telstar. You have a reputation there. People said you're good. Too good, maybe.
We thought you might have done something illegal, but they said their security is way too tough for you to crack.
Please, I wrote their security. The firewalls, the protocol encryption, it's all me, detective.
So, you could crack a voicemail account?
Stupid easy.
What about deleting voicemails?
In my sleep, detective.
And what did Mercury Telstar think of that? Did you know Rachel Trevino?
She mentioned your name on her blog.
She did? Oh my God, really? What'd she say about me? Does she like me? Does she want to meet?
You sure you didn't know her? Or want to know her?
I mean, you're smart, Tom. All you had to do was hack in, learn her secrets, get close.
No, it's not like that.
But she still wouldn't have you. It drove you crazy. And then, things just got out of control. It's not your fault. Am I right?
Wait, what's not my fault? What are you talking about? Look, you gotta believe me. I didn't know this girl. I don't know any girls.
It's okay, Tom. I believe you. We believe you. Calm down.
Rachel was killed the other night. I just had to make sure you weren't playing us. Why would your old company accuse you of hacking?
Mercury Telstar hates me. They'll accuse me of anything. I'm a rogue anarchist activist. Those accounts are my playground.
And you hacked Rachel Trevino's.
I don't know. No. No. Why are you asking?
Your old company seems to think you did, and you apparently possess the skills.
No, I don't. Look, for instance, I couldn't have gotten through their firewall, all right? No way. The protocol encryption alone is just way beyond my skill.
You're lying, twerp.
Totally not lying, detective.
Remember how you were bragging on how you wrote the security?
Oh. Right.
That gives you means. Now we just need motive and opportunity.
Hey, wait a second. You didn't Mirandize me. I know my rights.
Oh, Tom, this is just an interview, not an arrest. So sorry. Miranda doesn't apply. So, why would a nice guy like you want to delete voicemails?
Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't.
Curtis, can I tase this guy?
Tom, I think you're starting to irritate my partner.
You like games, Tom? Let's play a game. It's called Detective Benson Likes You for a Murder. I throw you in jail and you try to survive as long as you can against the drug addicts and the gang members who live there. You can post the results on your blog.
I can picture the Facebook update now.
I just... Okay. There was another reason.
What is this another reason?
Well, I was paid to access the account, of course.
By who?
I don't want to say.
You better say. Or do we need to call your mom and tell her you're running a hacking ring out of her basement?
Oh, Jesus, no. Look, don't get her involved. That woman has enough problems. These people are powerful.
Names. We need names.
I don't know their names.
But you know they're powerful? How does that work?
We only did business over the phone. They had their caller ID blocked, so I never knew their names.
You're a terrible liar, Tom.
Your old boss told us you know how to crack caller ID codes. You know those names, and you're gonna tell us one way or another.
Oh.
You know what? Playtime is over. You better start coughing up solid answers or I'm throwing you in Rikers, and your mom will have to spend her last cent to post your bail.
Okay. But listen, I only hacked the accounts to sell the voicemail passwords.
Passwords? Plural?
Yeah, I did a lot of them. Celebrities, politicians, you name it. Then I sold the passwords to this lady named Gwendolyn Scott. She's like a PR flack.
Did she ask you to mess with Rachel's account?
Yeah, I figured it was corporate espionage or something. You know, what do I care? Let the capitalist pigs brawl in the mud. Who's it gonna hurt?
Rachel Trevino.
Have a great night, Deep Throat.
We're going to start by what we call defining your moment.
Gwendolyn Scott?
Yes.
I'm Detective Ray Curtis. This is Detective Benson. We need to talk to you for a minute.
So sorry, I'm busy.
It's important.
My client is important. You can call my office.
You know, a guy named Tom Newberry just gave me this girl's number, PR flag. She likes to buy voicemail passwords and blackmail her clients. Maybe I'll call her instead.
"5 minutes. Was that fun, Detective?
Sometimes I like to play rough.
Well, so do I. But a little charm can go a long way.
Sorry, I promise this will only take a moment of your time. You're a busy girl.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
And I promise I won't make up extra questions as an excuse to talk to you longer.
All right, Romeo, settle down. Ask away.
name Rachel Trevino mean anything to you?
No, should it?
She was murdered last night. We found her body at the Parkview Regency.
Oh, poor girl. As if life isn't tough enough for housekeeping.
I didn't say anything about her being with housekeeping.
I must have read it in the paper.
Nothing's been released to the papers yet.
It must have been gossip. You know how these things get around, Detective.
Tom Newberry already told us you knew her.
Oh, that Rachel. Of course. My mistake. I can be such an airhead.
Do you know Tom Newberry?
No.
He says he knows you. That's how we got your name.
A lot of people know me.
Do a lot of people call you?
Not the right people.
So if I look up your phone records and Tom Newberry called you, and you talked to him more than once, now, would I be crazy to think you're lying to me?
I'd say you were just jealous.
I'm not the jealous type, Miss Scott, and I don't like playing games. You knew him.
Fine. Yes, we did business. I paid him for insider information.
You paid Tom for what, exactly?
Passwords. I paid Tom for access to voicemail accounts.
So you could delete Rachel Trevino's voicemails?
Look, I really shouldn't say.
Did you want to keep her quiet? Miss Scott, were you involved in her murder?
No, I did delete Rachel's voicemails, yes, but I did it for someone else, on someone else's orders. Understand?
All right, I'm listening. Why don't you tell me a little more? Was someone else involved? Who asked you to delete the voicemails?
A client. I really can't tell you.
I'm gonna find out anyway. I'm actually pretty good at this detective thing.
Well, crap. I guess it's all over for me anyway. Here's the deal. I gave Rachel's password and voicemails to my usual buyer, Alexander Baron.
Alexander Baron, as in CEO of Wider Media? The Russian guy who owns like half the television stations in America?
The very same. Baron bought Rachel's voicemail access from me a few weeks ago, and then told me to delete them all.
Wider Media. Rachel wrote that in her day planner. It didn't click until now. Miss Scott, why was Alexander Baron interested in Rachel Trevino? She's a maid. He's a Russian billionaire. I don't get it.
Rachel Trevino was not a hotel maid. She was an activist, a blogger, and she had uncovered some dirty, dirty secrets about Alexander Baron. He's a very bad boy detective.
What did she find out?
Baron has a problem keeping it in his pants, especially when it comes to housekeeping staff. We've had to cover up a few unsavory encounters. Rachel tried to set up a sting going undercover at the hotel, and I honestly don't know what happened after that, but I think she got in over her head.
Did Baron kill her?
And this is where my lawyer would advise me to keep my mouth shut.
Come on, Gwen.
Oh, now it's Gwen. I like that. Okay, look, all I'm gonna say is the Parkview Regency Hotel has a front desk, right? Ask them who stayed there on Saturday.
That was Cormac at the precinct. Alexander Baron was a guest at Parkview Regency the night Rachel was killed. He checked out earlier today, and he's on his way to MacArthur Airport. He's got a private jet and an appointment in London.
Well, he's gonna be late.
Mr. Baron! Mr. Baron! Detective Curtis, NYPD. We need to talk to you about the murder of a hotel maid over the weekend.
A maid? Are you serious? I'm leaving for London.
Look like about 1.5 inches to you, Ray?
Sure does.
Mr. Alexander Baron, you are under arrest for the murder of Rachel Trevino. You have the right to remain silent.
I don't know why we're wasting time here. I'm a Russian. I have diplomatic immunity.
We did a little research on you, Mr. Braun. Rachel's blog was a very interesting read. Maids, waitresses, executives at your own company? Is there any woman you wouldn't hit on? Your mom?
Miss Benson, I am a handsome, virile man. I radiate power. Women are attracted to it despite themselves.
Here's a clue. When a woman is attracted to you, she does not slap you with a sexual harassment lawsuit. You've had 12.
I'm a flirt. I get slapped with all sorts of things.
Did you know Rachel Trevino?
No.
We have DNA evidence that says you did.
What kind of evidence?
A rape kit.
You don't know what you're talking about. It was completely consensual.
So you do know her?
You cops think you have it all figured out. Guess what? We were lovers.
I'm not buying it. Sorry, Charlie. An earlier witness already told us Rachel didn't have a boyfriend. And you lied about knowing her just now. That's 2 strikes.
A jury might see it different. When I left the room, that girl was alive.
You had access to Rachel's voicemails, and you destroyed them to cover up your connection.
Not true. I never touched the voicemails.
Nice try. Gwen Scott told us she deleted the voicemails on your orders. You're guilty as sin, Baron.
If you say so.
Rachel knew all about you. She was gathering evidence about you, about unreported assaults.
I wouldn't know anything about that. I never even heard these voicemails you're so very concerned about.
You didn't come forward when you heard about the murder.
I had no reason to. A maid is killed. How is this my business?
She was your girlfriend.
Ah, but you say she is not detective.
Seems like you were trying to avoid this investigation.
No, I had every intention of cooperation. In fact, when you found me, I was on my way to see my lawyer.
Uh-huh, in your jet.
He's on vacation in Florida.
You said you were headed to London. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump to Moscow from there, and then you'd be out of our reach.
Your knowledge of geography is so American.
So let's say, maybe this girl, Rachel, maybe she liked it a little rough, and you obliged. Consenting adults, right?
Sure, completely consenting.
And the cane could have been involved.
Could have been.
You know, killing the witness to a crime gets you an automatic upgrade to murder 1.
What crimes? What witness?
Rachel had evidence on you, Braun. She knew what you were up to.
She wasn't a witness to anything. Those voicemails were about an expose, a plan to blackmail me.
You're lying, and we can prove it. You just told us you never heard those voicemails, so there's no way you could know what they were about. You heard them, and you know it. You're looking better and better for this murder with every lie that comes out of your filthy mouth. Tell me how the cane fits into this scenario. Was it an accident?
I'm sure it must have been.
Did she ask you to use it?
Yes, she asked me to do it. It was her idea. She liked that kind of thing, I guess. Like I said, it was all consensual. This girl was kinky. She saw my cane. She wanted to try it. She was an adult.
So you admit it?
No. No.
You better wipe that smug smile off your face before you get to Rikers.
Miss Benson, I'm innocent of this offensive charge. My lawyers will have this all thrown out, and my country will protect me.
Really? We can place you at the murder scene. We can connect you to the victim and her voicemails. And your cane is a match for the murder weapon.
Now might be a good time to panic.
That's a hell of a lot of evidence to throw out.
That's why I have a hell of a lot of lawyers. Don't worry, I'll be out in a few days. Then maybe I'll call you, baby.
Gosh, you are just not my type. Come on, Ray. Let's go get a bite. Mr. Baran can stew in his own ick for a while.
The district attorney's office takes a dim view of rape and murder in our city, Mr. Baran. Your defense contends you have diplomatic immunity, but the Russian consulate says you only have limited immunity.
My status protects me from prosecution of any crime committed in the course of my diplomatic mission. I met Miss Trevino in the capacity of a Russian media expert as a diplomat.
Did you meet Rachel Trevino at the Parkview Regency?
She said she worked there, so we agreed to meet.
And instead you slept with her?
Yes. Women are attracted to me, Miss Carmichael.
Not all of them.
Objection!
Withdrawn. So your immunity status is based on your acting as a diplomatic agent. But this is the first we've heard that you were meeting Rachel Trevino in that capacity.
She wanted to compare Russian business philosophy to American. She mentioned that aspect specifically to me.
Are you sure she didn't have something else in mind? Was Rachel investigating other aspects of your business, Mr. Baran?
No.
Our detectives investigated Rachel's blog. She was gathering evidence that you were a sexual predator.
That was for my daughter, you bastard!
Bailiff, restrain that man. Order! Order!
Someone grab him! My baby, you murderer!
Judgment Day. Hero dad gets revenge. Taking care of business. Father does what court cannot. American justice. The headlines go on. The people love this guy.
Chavez Trevino. He killed the smug bastard who killed his daughter. Of course they love him.
How the hell did he get a gun into the courtroom?
This is gonna get messy quick. I say we charge him with voluntary manslaughter and let it go.
Abby?
You know what keeps me up at night? What if his aim was off? Just slightly. I wouldn't even be here to answer your question, Jack.
You're right. I'm not setting a precedent for street justice in our courtrooms, despite what the people think they want. Prove it was premeditated. Hit him with murder one.
You got it, boss.
How did your client plead, Ms. Mullins?
Not guilty. Be advised, we're going to mount a diminished capacity defense. The defendant is a Gulf War vet who suffers from chronic post-traumatic stress disorder. We will show that Mr. Trevino was under extreme emotional distress at the time of the shooting and is therefore not eligible for murder one.
Any issues, counselor?
None, Your Honor. Defense has briefed us already. This doesn't change anything. We're moving ahead with murder one. Focus on the premeditation. Can you tell us definitively who shot Alexander Baran?
Without a doubt, the defendant, Chavez Trevino, shot him. I looked to see Mr. Trevino standing up with a smoking gun in his hand. Literally.
And can you identify him for the court?
Sitting right there. That's your shooter.
Please let the record show the detective pointed at the defendant. After the shooting, Mr. Trevino made a voluntary statement to you about why he shot Mr. Baran. True?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said Mr. Baran had to die. He said Mr. Baran was going to claim immunity, escape prosecution, and run back to Russia.
Detective, how exactly did Mr. Trevino get a gun into the courtroom? Aren't there security measures?
We're still investigating how he breached security. But he claims he stuffed it into his jacket and simply walked through.
How difficult would it have been to get past security?
Mr. Trevino had to avoid metal detectors and checkpoints covering every entrance.
What would it take to get past all that security, Miss Benson?
Forethought, planning, and intelligence. Mr. Trevino had to keep his cool and his wits about him at all times.
Actions inconsistent with someone under emotional distress.
In my view, yes.
What else did he say?
He said the courts were weak, powerless. He said the only justice he wanted was a death sentence.
So, his motive was less about avenging his daughter's murder and more about exacting the type of justice he wanted to see.
Objection.
Withdrawn. Is there any doubt as to the circumstances of the shooting, Detective?
None. Mr. Trevino shot the defendant in front of witnesses and admitted to the murder afterward. I wish every case was as simple.
Thank you, Detective. Your Honor, the people rest. No further questions for this witness.
Detective Benson, you testified that you saw the defendant, Chavez Trevino, shoot the victim.
No, I testified that I turned around and saw Mr. Trevino with a smoking gun in his hand, about a second after I heard the shots.
So you didn't actually see him do the shooting? Are we supposed to believe you're a relevant eyewitness?
Objection. Argumentative.
Sustained. Ms. Mullins, enough with the rhetoric.
Immediately after the shooting, what did Mr. Trevino look like?
I don't follow you.
Was he composed? Calm?
He was in possession of himself.
Wasn't he yelling out, "My baby, you murdered her"?
He said that, yes.
He was out of his mind with grief. He was coming apart at the seams, and you didn't see it? Really? I don't believe you.
He was upset.
Objection. Argumentative.
Sustained. The defense can save the dramatic storytelling for its own witness.
Is your heart so cold, Detective? Are you such a robot that you can't see another human in distress?
Objection. Badgering.
Ms. Mullins, you are trying my patience. Either ask the detective a legitimate probative question or sit down.
Let's try this one more time. Was my client, Chavez Trevino, visibly shaken and distressed following the shooting?
Yes.
Did he appear rational, calm?
No.
Was his behavior at that moment consistent with a person in severe emotional distress?
Yes.
So despite any forethought or planning he might have shown previously, the defendant was clearly in distress when he fired his weapon. True? True?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all for this witness, Your Honor.
I just got a message from Cormac. You know the gun we took off Chav Trevino?
Yeah.
It's a ballistics match to the one used in the preppy joggers murder.
The joggers? The two kids who got killed in the park? That was in the 90s.
It was 1998. Me and Lenny Briscoe caught the case, but we ran out of leads and were never able to close it. We got pulled off, actually. It burned the old man's ass pretty good.
Oh, tough break. But, well, then how did Trevino get it?
Yeah, good question, Detective. This case has been on my mind since I got back. Then this falls in my lap. I feel like I owe it to Lenny.
Ray, any way I can help out, I'm in.
Thanks.
Mickey, in the weeks after your sister's murder, how did your dad act?
Crazy. My dad has PTSD again. It all came back. He needs different treatment.
Objection. Mickey Trevino is not a psychiatrist, Your Honor. He's not qualified to diagnose his father.
Sustained. Mr. Trevino, please limit your comments to what you saw.
Tell us the behavior you observed.
He couldn't control his temper. He would like yell when the phone rang or like if a dog was barking 2 miles away. I didn't know what to do. When Rachel was killed, I expected him to be really sad or depressed, but not, not angry.
And this behavior, had you ever seen it before?
No, but my sister did.
Objection. Hearsay. Regrettably, the witness's sister is deceased and can't testify to the truth of this statement.
Sustained. The jury will disregard that last remark.
When?
After he got home from the Gulf War, 1991. Pop had his troubles with the law. A felony assault charge, some other bullshit, some other nonsense.
Did you think he would hurt anyone?
My uncle said he was getting dangerous.
Objection. Hearsay.
Sustained. If your uncle would like to testify, then by all means. However, you may not testify for him.
Do you think your father was in his right mind when he shot Alexander Baran?
No. When my sister got murdered, I tell you, it smashed something deep inside my dad. And the idea that this fat Russian bastard could walk away scot-free because of some technicality? My dad did the world a favor.
Thank you, Mickey. No further questions.
How do you and your father feel about Alexander Baran?
How do we feel? Are you freaking serious?
Easy, Mr. Trevino.
Sorry, Judge. We hate the man. Alexander Baran is the guy who killed my little sister. My pop said he didn't care what happened to him. He said he would gladly kill Baran so we could go to hell and kill him again. He's a fat cat with an army of lawyers ready to help him weasel out of everything he does. You know this guy. Every day you read about him. Oh, he loves to do the crime, but he does not do the time. Nope, not these boys.
Did your father try to buy a gun a week before the attack?
Yeah, I guess.
Did you try to help sign for it?
Yeah, so what?
Your father was convicted of felony assault in 1992. He's not allowed to have a gun. Did you know about his conviction?
Nah, I didn't know nothing about that. Man's got a right to defend himself.
Actually, when he's a convicted felon, he doesn't. Did you ever hear your father threaten to kill Baran?
Hurt? Yes. Kill? No.
That's not true. You just told us your father said he'd like to, quote, kill Baran and go to hell so he could kill him again.
That was like just a figure of speech.
Or the truth. Where did he get the gun he used in court?
I told the cops already. I don't know where he got the gun.
You sure you didn't help him?
I've never seen it before. I didn't even know he had one.
You sure you didn't help him get it? You are under oath, Mr. Trevino.
I did not help him. Pop smuggled it in under his jacket. I don't know how he made it past security, but he did.
Why didn't you get help for your dad?
He seemed rational.
So he was in control? Enough so that you weren't worried?
Yeah, I wasn't worried.
So where's the PTSD?
I guess I didn't see it then.
So maybe he didn't have it.
That's not what I meant. He did.
So why didn't you get him help? Either you saw he was out of control and you did nothing, or you saw nothing.
Hey, there was no way to know what my dad was going to do. He was crazy. How could I possibly have known it would come to this?
He already had a felony assault in his past, he tried to illegally buy a gun, and he told you he wanted Baran dead. If that was my old man, I'd have been a little worried. You want us to believe your dad just snapped. You say he hated Alexander Baran, knew in his heart Baran was guilty. He tried to buy a gun but couldn't, so he found one some other way. Then he smuggled it through security, stayed cool until he had a fair shot, and fired an accurate pattern right into his intended victim. Now, Mickey, does that really sound like someone who just suddenly snapped?
Objection!
Withdrawn.
None of this would have happened if people acted right. Rachel writes a nasty blog and this guy Baran kills her. My dad's going out of his mind and his doctor goes on frickin' vacation. Vacation, can you imagine? It ain't right. Everybody fails us, and we gotta suffer for it.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Trevino, why did you shoot Alexander Baran?
He murdered my daughter. He was gonna go free. He was going to walk.
Objection. The witness can't know whether Mr. Baran was guilty or whether he would have gone free because he stopped the trial dead.
Sustained.
Can you tell us about Alexander Baran's diplomatic immunity?
Hey, I'm not a lawyer, but I know what that means. He just gets to skate. The law says he can run off to Russia.
Objection. Witness stated he wasn't a lawyer. The diplomatic immunity rules are actually very complex, Your Honor. Alexander Baran's status was still under review even at the time of the trial.
Sustained.
Mr. Trevino, can you take us back to 1991 and your experience after the Gulf War?
Yeah, I was a ranger in Iraq. I saw a lot of stuff. When I got back home, I had some trouble settling in.
What kind of trouble?
I was never a violent guy before, but suddenly anything could set me off. I fought all the time. I couldn't sleep. My wife divorced me. I wanted to die.
And what did the Army say?
The doctors said I had PTSD. They said it interfered with my ability to regulate my emotions. So I joined a therapy group. I took meds for a while for the depression, got myself back together.
What might have happened if you hadn't had therapy?
I don't know. Maybe gone crazy, maybe hurt somebody. I might have snapped, like I did that day in court.
Objection. Cause for speculation. Defense is asking the witness to relate an imaginary scenario.
Sustained. Let's focus on reality, Miss Mullins.
But you got yourself back together. You lived a normal life. So what happened recently to bring it all back?
Rachel.
Your daughter was tragically murdered, and the main suspect appeared to you to have diplomatic immunity.
She was my beautiful baby girl. He had no right. How could this happen in the 21st century in America? An innocent girl gets killed, the cops pin the blame on this scumbag, and still...
He might walk away.
As a man, as a father, I couldn't let that happen. She looked to me to protect her. All her life, I was a daddy, right? And I failed. And you failed. You didn't protect her when she needed it most. What use is all your legal garbage if you can't put a killer behind bars? So, as a father, it was up to me to put that wrong to right. Because no one else was gonna. Now my baby girl can rest with some kind of dignity.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino. And sorry for your loss.
Mr. Cutter, your witness.
Defense requests a short recess, Your Honor. We wish to confer with the people about a plea deal.
Well, make it quick. We're all on pins and needles.
Mike, Abby, let's not let a grieving father go to jail for the rest of his life. Can we talk deal?
Depends. What are you offering, Christina?
1 year in county plus probation. You give us the time. He doesn't belong in jail.
You're kidding, right? He's a killer. I got the bloodstains on my jacket to prove it.
Here's our counteroffer. Murder 2, 25 years, but with the possibility of parole at 15. If you're the good person you say you are, then it shouldn't be a problem.
You got yourself a deal, Mike. We'll have the papers drawn up. The people have agreed to a plea and a sentence for the defendant, Your Honor.
Then I thank the jury for their service. Counsel, I will see you at the sentencing hearing on Monday.
Mr. Cutter, Miss Carmichael, I just wanted to say thank you for the deal. I know what I did was wrong, but Rachel was a beautiful person. She was smart. She was going places. She wanted to help the world, make it a better place. But this bastard just walked into her life and ended it all.
And you walked into a courtroom and ended his life.
Why can't the law protect us?
From who? Alexander Baran? Or you? Ray, thought you'd be out having a drink.
Nah, I'm going through some old files on the Preppy case.
Trying to tie the gun to Trevino?
And coming out cold. I wish Lanny was still around. He was good at this kind of thing.
Well, this ought to cheer you up. Turns out Mickey Trevino is an HVAC contractor for the city.
Okay.
Guess where he did a midnight repair 24 hours before the Alexander Baran trial?
Superior Court. He snuck the gun into an air duct.
Shall we go have a word with him?